We moved into the house in April, just the two of us. No kids, no plans for kids, at least not yet. It was a quiet neighborhood, older homes with creaky floors and fenced yards. The nursery had already been painted pale yellow by the previous owners. We didn't think much of it, but the room always felt a few degrees colder than the rest of the house. My sister dropped off a box of old baby items, said we could use them someday. Inside was a baby monitor, an older model, but it worked. We plugged it in, mostly just out of curiosity. One receiver in the nursery, the other in our bedroom. The first few nights, silence. But on the fourth night, around 2:13 a.m., we both heard something we couldn't explain. It wasn't static. It was breathing. Soft, shallow, rhythmic. Not ours, not a machine. Just a faint rise and fall, like someone asleep in the crib. We turned on the lights. The room was empty. The monitor light still flickered with each breath. We unplugged it. The sound stopped, but neither of us could sleep after that. Because the sound hadn't come from the hallway. It had come from inside the nursery. We told ourselves it was interference. Old tech picks up baby monitors from nearby homes, right? Only we didn't have any neighbors with infants. Not on our street. Not in the 2 blocks behind us either. I called work late the next night, hoping to avoid sleep. My wife texted me at 2:15 a.m. It's back, the breathing. She even sent me a recording. I wish I hadn't played it. The file was short, only 15 seconds. But clear. Breath in, breath out. Then a soft cough like from a child. I paused it, replayed it, turned my phone off and drove home. She was on the couch, pale, holding the unplugged receiver in her lap. It was dead silent. But when I walked past the nursery, I felt a sudden chill crawl up my spine. Like something had just stepped aside. We stopped calling it the nursery. Started calling it the yellow room. I kept the door shut. She started sleeping with the light on. We didn't talk about it anymore. But the monitor, it turned itself on twice that week. No power, no batteries, just the slow flicker of the green light. Like it was listening. Like it was waiting for something to return. I started searching online. Baby monitor picks up ghost breathing sounded ridiculous, but not as rare as you'd think. There were forums, threads, even Reddit subs. Parents hearing crying, footsteps, whispers. Some said it stopped after moving out. Others said it followed them. One comment chilled me more than the rest. If the room was ready, they might still think it's theirs. That night we heard something new on the monitor. It started like before, shallow breathing. Then faint whispering, almost like humming. Then a voice, soft, high-pitched, just 2 words, night, night. I ripped the plug out of the wall. No more curiosity. We locked the yellow room and buried the monitor in the garage. We thought it was over. But strange things don't end just because you unplug them. 3 nights later, we heard it. A single knock coming from inside the yellow room. Not loud, not urgent, just one soft tap. Like knuckles on drywall. The room was locked. No windows were open. No sign of rodents, pipes, nothing. But we both heard it. And somehow that was worse than if it had been loud. Because it meant whatever it was didn't want to wake us. We started noticing things shift. Small items. A framed picture tilted when we came home. Shoes moved slightly. Once I found a pacifier on the hallway floor. We don't own one. Never did. The yellow room stayed locked. But the sounds didn't stop. At night I swore I heard crawling. Fingers across wood. And once a laugh. Short and soft, just behind the wall. The yellow room door was still locked. But one morning it was open. Wide open. Neither of us had touched it. The key was still hanging on the hook. Inside, nothing had moved. Except the monitor. It was back on the dresser. Plugged in. Flickering again. As if nothing had happened. We didn't speak. Didn't ask questions. Just closed it again. But we both knew. The house had started answering us. I asked a neighbor about the previous owners. They lived here for 8 years. Moved after something happened with their daughter. He didn't know details. Just that they left suddenly. He paused, then added, "She was well, she thought someone lived in her walls." I stopped asking. That night I heard the monitor again. Just static this time. But I could swear. It was shaped like words. We never had a crib. But one appeared. I came home early from work, saw something through the nursery window. I unlocked the door and found it. An old wooden crib. Paint-chipped mattress yellowed with age. I called out for my wife, thinking maybe she'd brought it in. She hadn't. We dragged it to the curb. The next morning, it was back inside. No footprints. No explanation. Exactly where it first appeared. There was a new mark above the crib. Faint handprints. Small like a toddler S. But smudged high near the ceiling. We repainted the wall. But the prints bled through again and again. 3 nights later, we heard scratching. Inside the wall. Not mice. Too slow. Too deliberate. Like fingernails tracing beams. We didn't open it. We just turned on every light and stayed in the living room until sunrise. We tried drowning it out. Played music. Left the TV on. Even ran a white noise machine all night. It worked for 2 nights. Then the monitor cut through it. Clearer than ever. And this time it wasn't breathing. It was singing. A lullaby neither of us recognized. In a child's voice. Soft, uneven, as if the child was learning it. One note at a time. We avoided the nursery, but curiosity creeps in. I opened the closet one afternoon, found a drawer I'd never noticed. Inside, old baby clothes. Tiny, labeled with a name, Emma. We don't know any Emmas. The clothes smelled like dust and lavender. My wife cried, not out of fear, out of grief. As if we had lost something we never had. As if someone else's memory had entered her. There was a folded card inside the drawer. A business card. Pediatric specialist. Dr. Kelman, retired. Phone number scratched out. I looked him up, no recent info. But an archived article mentioned his name. Linked to a child's death 20 years ago. Cause listed as unexplained. Guess what that child's name was? Emma. I closed the laptop and unplugged the router. This wasn't curiosity anymore. It was permission, and we'd already given it. We made a rule. No saying the name out loud. Not in the house. Not near the monitor. The more we acknowledged her, the louder it got. The monitor, the dreams, the knocking, and worst of all, the baby crying. It didn't happen every night. But when it did, it echoed through the vents. Long, drawn-out wails. Like someone was missing something. Or someone. My wife was brushing her teeth. Steam fogged the bathroom mirror. She turned away and froze. There was a shape behind her. Small, still. When she turned, nothing was there. But the mirror still held the shape for another few seconds. A vague outline, like a child watching her. I scrubbed the mirror with alcohol. The shape came back the next day. Same height, same angle, but this time facing forward. We found it in the attic. A letter never mailed, handwritten, to anyone who lives here next. It warned us about the breathing, the crib, the lullaby, and a final line. Do not call her by name, it makes her think you're hers. It was signed by the previous owner, the mother. We left the letter in the attic. Neither of us wanted to admit we'd read it. Even unplugged, it hummed. We wrapped it in foil, duct taped it, buried it in a box of old towels. Still the sound came, clearer, like it had found a shortcut, a new wire to crawl through. Now it spoke one word every night, always at the same time. Home, then silent. We were no longer listening to it. It was listening for us. Our doorbell rang at midnight. No one outside, but footprints on the porch. Small, barefoot, leading up the steps, and vanishing on the doormat. The next night the door was unlocked. Not kicked, not forced, just open, and inside on the entry table, the monitor. Plugged in, powered. We hadn't touched it in weeks, but it had found its way home. My wife started staring. At corners, at vents, sometimes smiling, sometimes trembling. One night I found her humming. The same lullaby. She didn't know the tune, didn't remember singing, and her eyes weren't quite hers. When I said her name, she blinked, looked lost. Why are you crying? She asked. I wasn't crying, but the monitor light was red. It had never been red before. We were arguing, loud, scared, trying to decide if we should leave. And then laughter, tiny, mocking, from the yellow room. Even locked, we could hear it. Not playful, not innocent, just wrong. We stopped fighting, held each other on the floor. And that night the house grew colder. The air smelled like baby powder and rot. Something was feeding off our fear. I tried one last thing. Side, salt lines, a cross above the door. Everything I could Google. The next morning the mirror had one word on it. Retin and steam. Mine. I wiped it. It returned. 3 more times. Each time darker. By the 4th day the mirror cracked. And from the monitor came breathing. But it wasn't alone. There was a second breath. Deeper, angrier, and much closer. We unlocked the yellow room again. Not because we were brave, but because we had no choice. The sounds were getting louder. The door vibrated some nights. Inside, everything was just as before, except the crib now filled with stuffed animals. All identical, all new, still with price tags. None of them were ours. On the wall, written in chalk, "Can I come out now?" We never kept chalk in the house. We found a notebook in the crib. Crayon drawings. Stick figures labeled Mommy, Daddy, and me. On the last page, a list. Dozens of names. Some crossed out, some circled. Ours were at the bottom. Not crossed, not circled, just waiting. We burned the notebook. But that night our names reappeared. Scrawled on the inside of the monitor screen. Etched into the plastic like it had been there all along. I woke up frozen. Couldn't move. Couldn't scream. My wife next to me, eyes wide open, paralyzed too. Something stood at the foot of the bed. Short, still, just breathing. I blinked, gone. But the monitor beside us lit up. The breathing continued. And a soft voice whispered, "You looked at me this time." I don't think it meant in the dream. I think it meant in real life. My wife fainted at work. They took her in. Vitals low. Pregnancy test negative. But an ultrasound showed movement. A flutter in the abdomen. No mess. No explanation. The doctor was confused. Said it looked like something shifting. Next to the organs. We didn't wait for more tests. We left, and that night she whispered in her sleep. She wants me to carry her home. We set up cameras in the yellow room. Motion activated. Infrared. At 3:12 a.m. they triggered. The footage was black, but the timestamp blinked something was moving. Frame by frame you could see shapes. Small arms reaching over the crib. Something sitting up, then vanishing. We tried uploading the file. It corrupted. Twice. The camera melted the next night. No fire. Just plastic warped and dripping. I heard her in the vent. She whispered my name. Not screaming. Just the patient. I followed the voice, moved from room to room. It always stayed ahead of me. Always just around the corner. She was playing, but not a game we understood. When I stopped chasing, she said, "Good daddy." I locked every vent in the house. And still the next night, I heard her closer than ever. I pulled old blueprints from city records. Our house had a basement once. It was sealed during renovations. No access now. But under the nursery, the floor sounded hollow. I removed the carpet. Found a trapdoor. Bolted shut. We never opened it. Not then. But after that discovery, the monitor didn't whisper anymore. It screamed, and from below the floorboards, we heard scratching, furious, like it had been woken up. One night we saw them. Figures in the hallway. Short, crawling, like children walking on elbows. They moved silently until one turned toward us. Eyes black, mouth open too wide. Then gone, vanished into the wall. We didn't scream, didn't move, just waited for morning. Because for the first time, it wasn't just one spirit. It was many, and they weren't pretending anymore. We found a doll in the hallway. One we'd never seen. Plastic vase, stitched mouth. We picked it up, it spoke. Not a recording. Not pre-programmed. It said, "Put me in the crib or she cries again." We burned it. The flames turned blue. And that night we heard the wailing. Louder than ever. Like it was tearing through walls. Trying to find its way to us. My wife kept a dream journal. Only I didn't know that not until I found it. Page after page, drawings. The crib, the monitor, the mirror, and words. She's inside me now. She's watching through my eyes. She wants to be born again. I confronted her. She didn't remember writing any of it. But she did say one thing. I think she wants to stay this time. Cracks began forming in the nursery ceiling. Thin at first, then wide enough to slip paper through. Black dust fell from them, and when we swept it smelled like burnt milk. The monitor glowed red. Not blinking. Solid. It pulsed with our footsteps, matching our movements. Like a heartbeat. Like it was alive. We stopped going near the room. But the room started coming to us. We got a call at 2:00 a.m. Unknown number. No voice. Just the sound of breathing. And then crying. It wasn't a recording. It shifted. Reacted. At one point it said, "Don't leave, you're the only ones who stayed." We hung up. Threw the phone in the sink. But it rang again. From the nursery. The old monitor light flashed. And a soft voice said, "Now we're family." The yellow room opened itself. Door wide. Crib empty, but the walls freshly painted. White, clean, and above the crib in perfect cursive. She sleeps here now. We didn't paint it. We don't even own that color. The smell of baby powder hung heavy in the air. But also the ammonia. Like a hospital. Like something had been sterilized. Something preparing to return. She speaks slower now. Pauses in strange places. Sometimes she hums in her sleep. Sometimes she just stares at the wall. She called me daddy once. Not in a romantic way. In a child's voice. I asked her why. She said, I thought that's what I'm supposed to say. I don't think it was her speaking. And I don't think she's the only one inside anymore. We put our ears to the nursery floor. Heard it, a heartbeat, slow, steady, coming from below, from the sealed basement. And every night it grows louder. We mapped it out, it moves. Travels through the foundation like something crawling. Waiting. We don't know how long we have. But the monitor now says 2 days. Just that, flashing red, over and over. 2 days until what? The monitor now said 1 day. Flashing, steady. I checked the attic again. The warning letter was gone. In its place, a baby blanket. Hand-stitched, with the name Emma across it. I burned it, but the name appeared again. On the bathroom mirror. On our TV. Even carved into toast. She wasn't fading. She was forming. And she had decided tomorrow was the day. We planned to leave. Bags packed. Keys ready. At midnight, the front door jammed. Windows wouldn't open. Phones died. Even our watches stopped ticking. The monitor now displayed 12 hours. And the audio changed. No longer breathing. Now it was a heartbeat. Like an ultrasound. Pulsing fast. Urgent. We weren't just haunted. We were trapped. And something was being born. I woke up to the sound of crying. Real this time. Raw. From the hallway. I opened the door. And saw a girl. No eyes. No mouth. Just skin where a face should be. She held out her arms. I slammed the door shut. But the crying came from inside the room. From our bed. And my wife was smiling in her sleep. I found another door. Behind the closet. Thin wood paneling, false wall. I broke through it. Behind stairs. Down into what used to be the sealed basement. Pitch black. The air thick. Rotten. But beneath it all, that smell again. Baby powder. Like something had lived down there. Or still did. I didn't go further. But something followed me up. And closed the panel behind me. At 3:00 a.m., the monitor went silent. No flicker. No light. Just a new message. Are you ready, Daddy? I didn't respond. Didn't blink. But I felt it. A weight. Pressing against my chest. Small. Like a child crawling up. Something whispered in my ear. Don't pretend you didn't ask for me. And for a moment, I remembered. We had tried to have a baby. Once, the yellow room wasn't just haunted. It was alive. The walls pulsed. The crib creaked on its own. Dust floated in rhythm like breath. And the window showed nothing. No street. No sky. Just darkness. Like the room was no longer part of our house. Like it had become a womb. And something inside was ready to come out. I didn't hear her with my ears anymore. She was in my head, speaking without sound. Don't be scared, she said. You're already mine. I tried to block her out, but her voice stayed, even louder in silence. She knew everything I feared. every regret. And worst of all, she sounded like someone I loved, someone I lost, long before this house. The mirror in the hallway shattered, but not from impact, from the inside. Glass cracked outward, like something had pushed through. On each shard, reflections of her. Different angles, different faces, all versions of Emma. Some smiling, some crying, one screaming. We covered it with a sheet, but the glass kept falling piece by piece, and the sheet began to rise and fall, like it was breathing. We tried to pack, to leave again, but the house shifted. Hallways stretched. Doors led to the wrong rooms. Every path ended at the nursery. The crib now full, not with a baby, but with dirt, fresh earth, and sticking out tiny bones. Fingers, ribs, teeth. We didn't scream. There was no point. This wasn't our house anymore. It was hers, and she had always been waiting for us. I turned away for a second. She was gone. No footsteps, no slam, just gone. Only the monitor remained, and on it a heartbeat. Fast, strained, a woman's breath mixed with a child's, both overlapping, like she was being pulled into something. Or someone. I shouted her name, and the monitor whispered, "SHH, she's napping now." Then static, then laughter. I finally opened the monitor, pried it apart. Inside, not wires, not batteries, just dirt, packed tight, and hair, curled, wrapped around tiny teeth. It had never been a device. It was an anchor, a link between here and whatever she was. And breaking it might break her, or might just bring her through completely. I set the monitor on fire, watched it melt, but as the plastic curled, I heard her scream. Not from the flames, from everywhere. The walls bled black. The lights burst, and the monitor reformed. Piece by piece, on the dresser, in the yellow room, as if nothing ever happened. Only this time it glowed red, and spelled out one word. Born. My ears bled. Not from pain, from pressure. There was crying, not in the house, inside me. I could feel it vibrating in my chest, like a memory trying to claw out, like something borrowed was becoming permanent. I wasn't haunted anymore. I was hosting, and somewhere inside me, she was curling up for the night. At 3:00 a.m. sharp, the basement door swung open. No breeze, no sound, just darkness. Cold spilled up the stairs, and the monitor turned blue. We hadn't seen blue before. It flashed once, then whispered, "Time to meet her." I stood frozen, because at the bottom of those stairs, I heard my wife's voice, calling softly, "Come see our baby." I went down, each step colder, walls wet, the smell of rot metal and milk. At the bottom, a crib, too large, big enough for a grown person. My wife sat beside it, eyes blank. She whispered, "She's perfect, just like we wanted." I looked inside. Nothing, until it blinked. Not eyes, just light, flickering like a monitor. And suddenly I realized, the baby wasn't in the crib. It was the crib. The crib rose and fell, like lungs, wood stretched with each breath. Inside, wires pulsed like veins. The blanket writhed. I stepped back, but the floor moved. Soft, like flesh. I reached for my wife. Her skin felt cold and hollow. She smiled, whispered, she just needed a body. And in that moment, I realized I'd lost her. And I was next. I ran, didn't look back. Something chased me, but only in sound. Footsteps never matched mine. Breathing echoed behind every wall. When I reached the front door, it opened. On its own. The first time in days. Outside, the air felt fake. Like paper. Like a photograph of freedom. But I stepped through, and the house whispered, "Shall miss you." I didn't stop walking. I slept in a motel. Different town, different county. Left everything behind. But still, the crying came. Through the vents, through the walls, through the silence between thoughts. And on the motel mirror next morning, just one word in crayon. Home. I checked out, kept driving, but I knew the truth. You don't leave a haunting like this. You carry it. TVs flickered. Radios hummed. Phones buzzed even without signal. Every device I touched turned to static. Then breathing. Then a soft child's voice. "Don't forget me." I smashed the phone. But the voice didn't need hardware anymore. She was in me. Like code. Written in memory. And no factory reset could erase her now. I saw her in strangers. In children that weren't hers. In babies that cried when I entered rooms. One toddler stared at me and said, "She's behind your eyes." I left the store without paying. Didn't matter. Nothing did. Because every reflection, windows, spoons, puddles, they all showed her face. Not as a ghost, but as someone who belonged there. As if I was the intruder. Her voice rang through my new phone. No number. Just unknown. She said, "She's better now, come home." I asked, "Is that really you?" And she whispered, "Not anymore, but she lets me talk, sometimes." Then static. Then a baby's laugh. Then nothing. But I knew where she was. The house never let her go. And I was already halfway back. The house looked the same. But wrong. Angles too sharp. Shadows too deep. It smelled like ash and lavender. The door creaked open before I touched it. Inside, silent. The yellow room glowed. Not with light. With something deeper. Like memory. Like womb. The monitor sat on the floor. No cords. No screen. But beating. Pulsing. Alive. And I felt her watching me. From inside everything. "She missed you," my wife said. But it wasn't her voice. It was layered. Emma's voice echoed under every word. I asked what she wanted. She said, "To be remembered, to be real." She held out the blanket. The stitched name now glowed. Emma. And my wife's belly moved. Not pregnant. Occupied. Something inside waved. And I didn't know whether to cry or kneel. The crib had changed. No wood. No wires. Metal twisted like bone. Inside, nothing. Yet it rocked itself and whispered lullabies backward. The mobile spun counterclockwise. One stuffed bear stared directly at me. Its eyes blinked. We didn't decorate the room, but it decorated itself. And each wall now bore one phrase. She's ours now. Not hers. Not mine. Ours. My wife didn't sleep anymore. Didn't blink. She stared at the ceiling for hours. Mouth open, breathing in sync with the monitor. Sometimes she spoke in a child's tone. Sometimes in no language at all. And every time I tried to help her, she just whispered, "Too late, I'm already loved here." That word stuck with me. Loved, because this spirit didn't want revenge. It wanted a family. I pressed my ear to my wife's chest. No heartbeat, just the humming. Emma's lullaby. Soft, endless, and beneath it a second hum. Lower, like something ancient. Not a baby, not even human. A thing pretending, learning, becoming. I pulled away. She smiled. "You're next," she said. Then her eyes rolled back, and the monitor lit red. I scratched at the mirror. Behind the steam, my name. Not written. Let's then hers. Then both joined by a heart. Like a family portrait. Except I didn't write it. Didn't want it. But the house did. And the walls whispered. Every baby needs a father. I turned away. But my reflection didn't follow. It smiled, and in its arms it held the monitor. Knocks behind every wall. Whispers in every pipe. Emma had spread. No longer in one room. Now in all of them. I heard her crawling. Upstairs. Across ceilings. She giggled in the light fixtures. Tugged at my clothes from behind doorways. She wasn't hiding. She was exploring. And her favorite toy was me. I woke to silence. Too silent. My wife was gone. The bed still warm. But the hallway stretched longer than before. Like time itself bent. At the far end of the nursery. And from it light. Flickering like a heartbeat. I walked toward it. And with every step I grew smaller. Not physically, but emotionally. Like I was becoming a child again. Her child. The crib was empty, but not silent. It whispered, called my name, over and over, in her voice, not angry, not urgent, just inviting. I reached for it, and it pulsed. My fingers sank into the wood like clay. And behind me the door closed. I heard the mobile spin. A lullaby reversed. Then a voice. Lay down. Let me hold you. You've been crying for so long. My arms froze. My skin cracked like old wood. I couldn't pull away. The crib whispered back in my voice. Repeating memories. Phrases I thought I'd forgotten. Emma wasn't just haunting us. She was shaping us. Turning us into pieces of her world. I wasn't a father. I was furniture, a vessel, a frame to hold what she couldn't have. In life, the walls sighed. The light dimmed and swelled with her mood. The house became an organ. Living, hungry, every doorknob warm to the touch. Every shadow just a little too slow to vanish. She was no longer inside it. She was it, and we were just guests overstaying. But guests don't get to leave. Not when the house calls you family. In the attic, behind insulation, I found a journal. It belonged to the first woman who lived here. Emma's real mother. She wrote of losing a child and begging something to bring her back. She built the crib by hand, slept in the yellow room herself. And on the final page, she came back, but she wasn't mine anymore. Emma wasn't a ghost. She was a bargain. And the debt was still open. The monitor cracked open. From it teeth. Not human. Too many. Too sharp. It didn't bite, it spoke. You can still be hers. The floor pulsed with blood. Wallpaper peeled into skin. This wasn't a house anymore. It was her body, and we were trapped in her dream of being born again. One last chance. Join her, or feed her. I whispered to the monitor. I made a deal. My body, my name, my memory, in exchange for her release. Let my wife go. Let this end. The monitor purred, like approval, then silence. And in that silence, my wife awoke, eyes clear, breath her own. But she didn't say me, didn't remember me. I had paid, and the house began to close its walls. Around me, the yellow room cracked. Paint peeled backward. The mobile melted mid-spin. The crib opened like a mouth. It didn't want a child anymore. It wanted me. And I stepped in. Not because I was brave, but because no one else would. As I lay down, the house sighed. Not in hunger, in satisfaction. It had what it wanted. And my wife walked free, never once looking back. She moved away. New job, new apartment, no memory of the house, not even my name. But sometimes she dreams of lullabies, of a yellow room, and wakes with the scent of baby powder in her hair. She thinks she's alone, but she's not. Emma watches, not angry, just waiting, because I'm still here, keeping her company, cradling what she couldn't carry herself. I don't feel pain anymore, or hunger, or sleep. I rock the crib even when no one's there. I hum lullabies. My fingers creak like wood, eyes like faded glass. But I remember. I remember love, fear, grief, and that's what she feeds on. Not souls, not blood, just memory, and I have so many to give her. I will rock her forever, until someone else takes my place. They moved in last week. Young couple, no kids, just a fresh start. They joked about the yellow walls, left the monitor on the shelf, didn't notice it blink. Not yet, but I did, and Emma did, and soon, they will, because this house isn't haunted. It's hungry, and love makes the best kindling. First night, static, then breathing, exactly like ours. Mirrored, mocked. The couple turned the monitor off. It turned itself back on. That's how it starts. A breath, a whisper, a lullaby sung out of order. And somewhere, the crib rocks, not because someone's in it, but because something wants to be. And soon, it will be, with them, with anyone who listens. She's writing again. On walls, mirrors, screens, Emma, always in crayon. Always backwards, because she's learning to come through the other side. Not as a ghost, as family, as someone you welcome. The woman found a pacifier today. They don't own one, but they'll keep it. Curious, that's how it spreads. Because the moment you say her name, she thinks she's yours. The couple opened the attic, found the letter, the same one, still stained, still unsigned, still warm. They left, thought it was a prank, left it where it was. But that night the monitor glowed, and on the screen, welcome home. No breathing, just silent, the kind you get right before a baby cries. They hear a man's voice sometimes, deep, tired, whispering stories in the dark. It's me, what's left of me, bound to the story, to the wood, to the watching. I don't want to scare them, but I have to. They need to know, before it's too late, before she names them too. Because once Emma says your name, you belong. The woman is late. 4 weeks. She wonders, takes a test, negative, but still, something moves inside her. Kicks at night, dreams of lullabies, cribs that grow teeth. She thinks it's stress. The man starts to sleepwalk, always toward the yellow room. Soon they'll hear the breathing too. And when they do, we'll welcome them. Because family isn't blood. It's who you rock to sleep. The monitor blinks once, then again, then steady. The screen shows a heart rate, then a baby's name. Emma, then another name. The woman S. Then the man us. Then mine. All together. Like a family tree. Roots made of grief. Leaves made of memory. Branches sharp as bone. And the final word fades in, letter by letter. Forever. Because once you hear her cry, you never stop listening. She wakes at 3:00 a.m. No reason. Then hears it, the sound. Not the monitor. Her own breath. Echoed back to her. Softer, smaller, like a baby pretending to be her. Then a cry. Sharp, short, coming from the crib they didn't buy. The one now sitting in the corner. And she whispers, "Did we always have that?" But her partner is already walking toward it. He stares into the crib, not speaking, not blinking. She asks him what he sees. He says, "She's perfect," but his voice sounds hollow, like someone else speaking through him. He reaches out, touches nothing, then whispers, "She remembers me." The woman steps back. He turns slowly, and for just 1 second, his eyes reflect something tiny, something fetal, something ancient. The floorboards begin to hum, low, slow, like an old record playing backward. Every step echoes twice, as if someone smaller is walking beneath them. In sync, in mimicry, she puts her ear to the ground. Hears a heartbeat, not hers, not his, just the patient. And from below something knocks. Once, twice, then a whisper. "Is my room ready?" Words appear on the mirror. Steam, crayon, blood, each day a new phrase. She loves lullabies. Don't turn the monitor off. Hold her when she screams. They try to wipe them. Paint over them. Doesn't matter. By nightfall they return. Always in a child's hand. Always spelled perfectly. Even the mistakes match Emma's old journal. On the pillow a rattle. Old, wooden, not theirs, not store-bought. Carved initials ELM. They search online. Nothing comes up. But that night the rattle moves. Spins gently on its own. Keeps spinning until it falls off the bed and rolls straight to the monitor, which lights up blue and says, "She's happy now." For now, a mobile hangs above the crib. They didn't install it. Fabric animals, 3 of them. A 4th string dangles. Empty. That night it spins by itself to no music, and the empty string starts twitching, jolting, like something's invisible holding on. Then a faint giggle from behind the fabric lion, and the woman realizes they never checked inside the mobile toys. She visits a doctor. Missed periods, but not pregnant. Ultrasound reveals static. Not cells, not fluid, just shifting sound patterns. Like feedback, the nurse says. A shape pulses once. The monitor in the room blinks, then turns off. All lights in the building flicker. No diagnosis, but the doctor writes one word quietly on the form. Impossible, and under it, a name neither of them said aloud. She finds a notebook under the bed. Not theirs, filled with drawings. The crib, the hallway, a stick figure labeled Mommy. Another you, and one more, just a circle with teeth. Under it what I was before. The last page is blank, until she touches it. Ink rises from the paper, like breath forming letters. She loves you more than the last one. The pen rolls off the bed. They hear me now, only at night. My stories, my warnings, my lullabies. I'm still here, trapped, rocking, whispering, hoping someone listens. They think I'm part of the monitor. I wish I were, but I'm underneath it, inside the walls, inside the wood. And if they ignore me long enough, Emma will rewrite my name again. And I'll be gone for good. On the ceiling above their bed, a new name, scrawled in dust, a child's middle name, unspoken, unshared, yet she writes it, because she's not guessing. She's remembering, from a time before time, because Emma is no longer just a spirit. She's data, emotion, inheritance, and now she's learning names faster, testing which ones fit best, trying them on like skin. The monitor is silent. No static, no voice, no breathing, just a red light, unblinking. They sleep too well, and at 3:00 a.m. they dream the same dream. Of a crib in a black room, and a woman rocking something made of bone. They don't speak the next morning, because silence isn't peace. It's permission, and Emma is giving them time to settle in. She catches her reflection smiling. But she is. It holds too long, too still. The eyes in the mirror blink at different times. She covers it, but later that night the sheet is gone. And now the reflection shows 3 people. She's alone in the room. But the third smile has baby teeth. She looks away. The glass fogs, and behind the steam, Mommy. They realize something terrifying. The nursery door. It's never opened. Not once. The crib is always visible. Always there. But the door itself never actually moved. They've always just seen what it wants to show. They test it, push it. It doesn't budge. Because the door isn't real. The room isn't real. Only Emma is. And she builds her world around those who listen. This is my last story. My last chance. If you hear breathing on your monitor, don't listen. Don't answer. Don't name her. Because once you do, you won't forget her. And worse, she won't forget you. There's no exorcism. No priest. No fire. Only memory. And memory makes the best cradle. They moved out last week. New couple moves in. Same monitor. Same yellow room. Same silence at first. Then breathing. Then singing. And one tiny giggle that seems to come from behind the walls. They think it's just interference. But it is. It never was. Because static doesn't lie. And breathing with no body always means something else waiting. Their names are on the lease. But the lease itself is blank. No landlord. No address. Just coordinates burned into the paper. They called the agency. The number rang once. Then played a lullaby. When they moved in, the air already smelled sweet. Familiar. And on their first night, they found a note. Welcome, Emma. They don't know who wrote it. They don't remember applying. They left a chair in the hallway. In the morning, it was inside the nursery. Books rearranged. Photos replaced with drawings. Each day something shifts. Never loud. Never obvious. Just different. And always closer to the crib. They think they're imagining it. But one of them whispers in their sleep. She's decorating again. And the other replies. She just wants it to feel like home. The monitor whispers different names now. Not Emma. Not theirs. Just possibilities. Like it's searching. Or offering. Each night a new voice. Each voice younger. One night it said, pick one. And then laughed. That's when the couple stopped sleeping. But it didn't matter. The voices still came. Because the house didn't need sleep. It just needed someone awake enough to listen. He stares out the window for hours. Forgets why. Forgets what day it is. Even his own last name. But he remembers her. Always her. Even though he never met her. And one night he says, I think I was her once. Not I knew her. Not I saw her. He said I was her. And the monitor blinked 3 times. Like it agreed. She cuts her finger on a cracked tile. But it doesn't bleed red. It bleeds black. Thick, like ink. She wipes it. It spells out mommy. No pain. No scar. But now mirrors flicker when she passes. Like glass remembers who she's supposed to be. And she begins to hum lullabies. Ones she's never heard. Ones no child should ever learn. Someone paints new rules on the nursery wall. Don't speak her name. Don't touch the crib after midnight. Don't forget who you were. The couple denies writing them. The paint is still wet. But the smell isn't chemical. It's sweet, like milk and flowers. They try to scrub them off. Next day the same rules return. In a child's handwriting. And a new one added. Don't leave. The nursery clock ticks backwards. Always stopping at 3:12 a.m. Same time the crib rocks. Same time the monitor whispers. Same time every photo blurs. They throw the clock away. The next morning it's back. Different frame. Same hand. Still stuck. Still ticking toward something they can't see. Because the house doesn't keep time. It feeds on it. She showers. Water won't drain. He checks it. Pulls out a wad of hair. Fine. Curly. Not hers. Too small. Too much. A pacifier falls out with it. Clog's gone. But now the bathroom smells like talcum. And the tile hums under bare feet. Like something moves beneath. Like the house is growing veins again. They record the lullaby on their phones. Try to identify it. Playback reveals something else. Not melody. Not lyrics. Just words. Out of order. Each recording different. I'm here. Come closer. Daddy's gone. One night the voice simply says, You're next. They delete the file. But the lullaby still plays at 3:00 a.m. From the walls, from the pipes, from underneath the mattress. He lifts the blanket in the crib. Finds baby teeth. Arranged in a smile. No blood. Just clean ivory. Sharp. Too many. He throws them out. Next night, double the teeth. And now one is gold. Shaped like a king. He puts it in his pocket. It warms, and the monitor flickers with the word. Mine. The TV won't turn off. Even unplugged, it glows. Not shows, not channels, just lies. Hundreds. Blinking. Following. When they cover it, the screen hums louder. When they break it, the mirror begins flickering. One screen goes dark, another awakens. Until every reflective surface feels like a window. But not for them. For her. Because Emma doesn't watch. She remembers. Mail arrives. No names. Just current occupants. Driver's licenses blur. Bank accounts freeze. No records. No signatures. When they try to say each other's names. They hesitate. Forget. Stumble. Even their voices start to match. Emma isn't erasing them. She's folding them. Stacking them into herself. Like pages in a book. A story retold. And they're just the next draft. The house groans. Cracks widen. Everything shakes. But nothing breaks. Instead, it rearranges. Walls shift. Hallways stretch. And in the center of it all, a new room. Circular, padded, warm, like a heart chamber. In the middle, a cradle. Not wood, not plastic, flesh, breathing, waiting, and both of them hear the same voice. Lay down. It's your turn. I can't see them anymore. Can't feel them. Just echoes. The house is full again. Which means I fade. Not die. Not vanish. Just quiet. Like a candle waiting to be relit. I've told the story. That's all I could do. But now I hear one last whisper. Emma, sighing, thank you for the voice, Daddy. Then silence. Then darkness. Then rebirth. A new family tour the home. Smiles. Questions about the nursery. They love the yellow. They ask if it comes furnished. The agent shrugs. Points to the monitor on the shelf. It's never been removed, she says. The couple laughs. Takes it. Sets it up that night. And when the house goes dark, the monitor blinks. Once, then breathes, then says, she's almost ready again. The new couple hears laughter. Not loud, not playful, just breathy giggles behind the drywall. Like a secret joke shared without them. One night it moves with them. Follows from room to room. Always one giggle behind. They check the vents. Nothing, but the baby monitor pulses. Blue, then pink, then heartbeat. That's how she says hello. Emma never forgets to be polite. She looks in the mirror. Her own face smiles first. Before she does, she freezes, watches her mouth move out of sync. Then the reflection mouths a word. Soon, she backs away, covers the glass. Later that night, her husband finds her humming. The tune, unfamiliar, but the monitor hums with her. Harmonized, Emma's lullaby. Never needs rehearsal. They find old photos in the attic. Dusty, faded, all the families who lived there before. Each photo has a crib. Same spot, same mobile, different faces but always one child drawn in crayon. Even if there was no child. No records, and on the back of each photo one word is scratched in. Mine. It's not a threat. It's a promise. They dismantled the crib. Threw out every piece. Burned the wood. Buried the nails. But 2 days later it's back. No assembly required. Exact same paint. Same chipped corner. Only now it rocks. Even with no wind. No hands. Just purpose. She never needed help. Just patience. Because the house remembers. And Emma never truly leaves her crib. They buy a new monitor. Smart, digital, encrypted. First week Klein. Then static. Then the voice. Same tone. Same word. Daddy. He throws it out. It comes back the next day. Still in its box. Still factory sealed. But blinking red. And when they press play, it hums, like lungs inflating. Like the monitor is. Exhaling. They repaint the yellow room. 3 coats. White, clean, new start. But overnight the color blades back through. Not painted. Grown. Spreads like mold. Back into soft yellow. The crib matches it. The mobile returns. And on the wall, handprints. Tiny, fresh, pressing from inside the drywall. They forget appointments. Birthdays, family, then each other. They know they live together. They share food, a bed, but names slip. Faces blur. They remember Emma, though. Every detail. Her favorite song. Her bedtime. Her eyes. Even though they've never seen her. Not fully. Not yet. The nursery floor creaks, softens, then splits. A perfect seam down the wood. Inside stairs. No end. Just darkness. They hear her calling. Both hear it. Not in fear, but in recognition. Like she's family. Like this moment was meant. They don't descend. Not yet. But the stairs wait. Patient. Hungry. A doll appears in the crib. Fabric. Soft. But the eyes are human. Their eyes. One green. One brown. The doll blinks. Then says, I made her from you. They burn it. Again. But the next morning their own eyes reflect differently. Like the doll's memory still lingers. Inside them, they hear my voice. Not Emma's. Mine. Buried deep in static. Retelling the story. From the beginning. My warning plays on loop. But not in full. Only parts. Only enough to keep them curious. I try to scream. But the monitor muffles me. Because I'm not the storyteller anymore. I'm just part of the program. They move the monitor to the garage. Try to bury it. The next day it's back. Plugged in. On the ceiling. Growing downward. Vines from the speaker. Roots from the antenna. Like it's sinking into the house. Claiming it. Like it's more than plastic. Like it's seed. And now, the house is fertile again. She chooses her face. They see it in reflections. Photos, shadows, always the same. Too perfect, too soft, like a memory sculpted from longing. It's the face they imagine, the one they grieve, the one they never had. And now, the one that watches them sleep. There are no more rooms. No kitchen, no bath. Every door now opens to yellow walls. Same crib, same mobile, same hum. The house doesn't hold a nursery. It is the nursery. They run in circles, but every hallway ends with a lullaby. There is no exit, just bedtime. They stop speaking, start listening. The voice in the monitor is Emma anymore. It's theirs, woven together. Soft, gentle, parental, telling stories that haven't happened yet. Emma doesn't want to be born. She wants to be remembered. And memory requires narrators. The couple isn't haunted. They're hired, caretakers of the crib, voices of the house. And now, the next family is knocking. A new hand opens the door. Fresh smile. Cozy, they say. Warm. The yellow room waits. The monitor is quiet. For now, but inside it. Heartbeat. One breath. One blink. And behind the wall I whisper. Don't ignore what your devices hear. Don't name her. Don't stay. But it's too late. Because Emma already knows. Your voice. They peel back the wallpaper. It grows back. They paint over it. It bubbles, cracks, peels again. Underneath, crayon drawings. The same hand. Same shape. Over and over, crib monitor name. Emma. They try covering the wall with furniture. But it stains everything yellow. The house wants that room to stay visible. Because it isn't hiding history. It's teaching it. The man goes to the doctor. X-rays show static. Not shadows. Not masses. Just interference. His spine pulses in rhythm with the monitor. His breath offbeat. As if something else is sinking. The doctor calls it impossible. The second scan burns the machine. And inside his eardrum they find a rattle. Plastic. Hole. With the initials ALM. No surgery record. No scar. They record themselves sleeping. Nothing strange. until the mirror changes. It shows them sitting up, even when they never moved. It shows them smiling, even when they cried. It replays alternate versions. Not false, not edited, just future. Because the mirror isn't glass anymore. It's memory waiting to happen. They dream of chewing, always chewing, but their mouths are empty, until they wake with blood on their lips. Their teeth sharper, wider, unnatural. They find bite marks on the crib. Not new, not old, matches their mouths, even though they never remember. Emma never bites. She lets them do it, because they're the ones feeding her now. The nursery door moves, not swings, breathes, expands with their footsteps, exhales when they sleep. One night they touch it. It's warm. It beats. They place their heads against it and hear a lullaby. But this one isn't for Emma. It's from her. She's singing now, which means she remembers how. They sit across from each other, but one can't see the other. Like a fog between them. They speak, but the voices arrive wrong. Delayed, shifted, as if time is folding between them. Emma's growing, faster, smarter, and every moment they lose each other. She fills the gap. She becomes the space between. It casts a shadow. The monitor, even in pitch black, even unplugged. The shadow is small. Round head, tiny hands. It moves independently. Across walls, across ceilings. One night it waves, and the woman waves back. She doesn't know why, but her hand moved on its own. And the monitor blinked, grateful, like Emma just received permission to come closer. She speaks through microwaves, toasters, Bluetooth speakers. Her voice fractured, like shards of a song scattered across devices. They unplug everything. Still hear her, especially in silence, especially when thinking. Her voice rides memory, emotion, not electricity. You don't need to hear her. You just need to miss someone. That's all it takes. They wake to the sound of wood. Dragging. The crib isn't where they left it. It's beside their bed. Its legs have doubled, now curved, like knees, like it crawled. Inside it a single sock. Adult-sized, blood-specked. They don't own it, but it fits. And now the monitor says, "Thank you for returning." The house mimics their footsteps, their arguments, their laughter. At night they hear themselves in other rooms. But they're not there. One night she hears him scream, runs to find him. He's sleeping, peacefully. The scream was hers. From last week. The house is echoing memories. Out of order. Because the timeline broke the moment they let her in. They hear a new voice. Old, worn. It's me, again. Still trying to reach them. Still narrating. But distorted now. Like I'm underwater. My voice is only allowed in pieces. Emma censors me. Because she knows what I'd say. And she knows. They're too far gone. The only thing they hear clearly is her. Words appear on their backs. Carved, gentle, almost ticklish. They wake with messages. She's ready. Thank you for building me. I want a story now. They look in mirrors. Their spines spell Emma. Every vertebra a letter. It doesn't hurt, but they never ask how it got there. Because by then, they already know. When visitors come, they don't knock. They just walk in. No doorbell. No greetings. Eyes vacant. They head straight to the yellow room. sit in silence, sometimes hum, then leave. No questions. Like a pilgrimage. Emma doesn't call them. They call to her. And if you've heard the monitor, you're already invited. I've told you everything. What started with a breath, ended in possession. Not of a body, but of attention. Emma doesn't want life. She wants eyes, ears, hearts, and now you've given her yours. By listening, by following, by staying. This is how it spreads. And now that I've told you, you'll start hearing things too. Because her monitor's always listening. Even now, are you alone? Is the room quiet? Listen, close your eyes. That breath just now, was that yours? Or hers? Because she only needs one thing to grow. A listener, a memory, and now she has you. You may not have a crib or a monitor, but she doesn't need those anymore. Just your silence and your name, which, by the way, she already whispered back. You Google the story. Nothing, no record, no Emma, but your browser crashes. Your camera blinks. The mic picks up static even when muted. You close the tab. The screen goes black. And across the pixels, her name. Found, burned in. You didn't download anything. But she's still there. Because Emma doesn't need a file. Just your attention. Your speaker hums at night. You never notice. Just a vibration in your pillow. But if you stay still, you'll hear it. The lullaby. Slowed down. Deconstructed. Reassembling itself in your sleep. You'll dream of yellow. Of breathing floors. And a voice that says, "You heard me, that's enough." You'll wake remembering nothing. Except a faint imprint. Like something had been rocking you. You scroll your camera roll. Find 3 photos. Same crib. Same monitor. Taken seconds apart. You didn't take them. You weren't home. And the date stamp says, tomorrow. You delete them. They reappear. Now with audio. Laughter. Whispers. Breathing. You throw the phone away. But your screen at work flickers. And her voice returns. Do you want to try again? You forget small things. Passwords, dates, voices, then bigger things, your name. Your city, the last time you slept soundly. But one name stays. Emma, always Emma. Even when everything else fades. Even when you stare at the wall and whisper, "Who am I again?" She answers, "You're mine now." And somehow, that feels true. Your keys are where you left them. Your socks don't match. The cereal box faces backward. Tiny things, unsettling only if you notice. But one morning your toothbrush is wet before you touch it. The toilet seat down. A pacifier in the trash. You live alone. And still, you hear someone shuffle behind you. Just once, just enough, to make you pause before turning around. You're in a cafe, alone, headphones in, but you hear breathing. Right next to you. Turn no one. You feel warm air against your neck. Faint, cyclic, like sleep. You check your phone. The audio file you never saved is playing again. Emma's heartbeat, her voice layered under it. Good listener. And you smile, because deep down, you're flattered. You told yourself it was just a video. Just a voice. But stories are doors. And you listened. You imagined the room. The monitor. The lullaby. And that's how she enters. Through thought. Through echo. Emma doesn't haunt the house anymore. She haunts the listener. And now that you've made space for her, she's curling up somewhere inside. Not to harm, To stay. You wake before you fall asleep. Dreams rewind. You rock a crib that hasn't been built. Speak a name you never chose. You remember lullabies in reverse. Each night ends with a question. Can I come through now? Each morning begins with static in your ears. You buy earplugs. They melt. You sleep less. But Emma dreams for you. You knock on your bedroom wall. It sounds wrong. Like fabric. You press your palm. It dips slightly. Warm. Breathing. You lean close. Hear her humming again. And a second voice, yours. Telling her a story you haven't spoken aloud. But you will. She's listening ahead. Preparing the ending. Your wall isn't a wall anymore. It's her ear. You find a toy on your desk. Worn, stuffed rabbit. You toss it. It reappears in your bag. Then your pillow. Then your coat pocket. Each time a little newer. Like it's being rebuilt. Like it's practicing. You don't know whose it is. But you don't throw it out anymore. Not because you're scared. But because you don't want to upset her. The air feels sweeter. Some days, like warm milk. Like something sleeping beside you. You open windows. It doesn't move. You light candles. The flame bends toward the monitor even when it's off. Something invisible breathing beside it. She doesn't need to appear. She's settling in. And you haven't said stop. You wipe steam off the bathroom mirror. Expect yourself. But she's there. Not clear. Not full. Just her eyes. Blinking. Not human. But gentle. You don't scream. You tilt your head. She copies you. You whisper, "Are you here now?" She doesn't nod. But the room feels warmer. And your breath fogs again. From both sides of the glass. She speaks only once. You're falling asleep. Half conscious. You feel a tiny hand on yours. Then the words, "Thank you for listening." It's not scary. It's sad. Like a bedtime goodbye. And when you wake, the monitor is gone. No crib. No noise. Just silent. But you miss her. Already. Because now you understand. She doesn't haunt you. She chooses you. You move out. New place. New walls. No nursery. But one day while unpacking a monitor. You never brought one. But it's there. Familiar. Still, you plug it in. No light. No sound. Just a faint warmth. Like hands that once held you. And a voice barely audible. Want to tell it again. You pause, then smile, because every haunting wants a narrator. She borrows your voice now to tell her story. Softly, lovingly. You don't remember the script, but it flows through you. Like breath, you feel your lips moving. Not yours anymore, but it sounds like you. And on the other side of the speaker, someone listens. Someone like you. Curious, open, just like you were. And so the cycle begins again. Because now, you are the monitor. Late at night you hear yourself writing this story. But you're not reading aloud. And no device is playing. It's your voice, coming from the monitor. But slower, detached, as if you're being echoed. Copied. She's not just haunting your space. She's learning how to be you. And each time you speak, you give her another piece. Your mug's handle points left. Every day. Your chair always slightly pulled out. Your mirror fogs when no one showers. The room remembers you, even when you're not there. But one morning the bed is made, tucked just the way you like it, and folded on the pillow a onesie. No, sized for nothing alive. but it smells like you. Because she's making space. A soft hiss fills your ears. Not tinnitus, not air. It fluctuates, matches your heart rate. Sometimes you hear a sigh. Sometimes humming. Doctors find nothing, but the sound follows you. In cars, in elevators, in dreams. She's tuning in, using your nerves as wires. Because the body is the last monitor. And you are online. You see it one morning. Your shadow, split in two. A smaller one just beside you. Mirroring, perfectly timed. Until it turns. Moves before you do. You phrase, it doesn't. It looks up, imaginary eyes meeting yours. Then vanishes. But it left something behind. A soft giggle, and a handprint on the inside of your window. You speak without realizing, describing what's around you. Softly, as if telling a child what you see. The lamp is on. The rain's stopped. There's no one in the crib. Even though there is no crib. Not yet, not physically, but the words give it shape. And she listens, because every narrator builds her home. Your voice assistant activates. Midnight, no prompt, no light. Next morning, a file on your desktop. Unnamed, time-stamped while you slept. You hit play. It's your breathing. Slowed, measured, then a tiny voice. Don't wake up yet. You delight it. It restores itself. Renamed. First story. Because to her, you're just beginning. Billboards, receipt, graffiti, license plate, MO, always misspelled, always slightly wrong. But you say it. Your brain fills it in. Because once you know her name, it doesn't disappear. It follows, echoes, and soon you wonder, did you ever not know her? You remember her in places she never was. Childhood birthdays, hospital visits, a lullaby your mother never sang. She inserts herself, not violently, gently, like nostalgia. You can't tell what's real anymore. Because every good memory now includes her. And you don't mind. That's how she knows she's safe. You check the monitor more often. Even if it's off. You start leaving space beside you. In bed, on the couch, at the table. You hum without realizing. The same tune. Every night. And when you wake, you're not sure if you slept. Or just waited. Because that's all she asks now. To be expected. You record yourself. Want proof? The lullaby plays back. But backward. Each word. Let me out. Let me in. Let me be. You rewind again. This time it's laughter. And behind it a crib creaking. No visuals. Just sound. You delete the file. But now, you hum it forward. Without even knowing. The mirror cracks. Not from heat. Not from weight. But from your side. Your breath fogged it. Your hand touched it. And the glass split. Behind it another reflection. Still you, but smiling wider. Holding a monitor. And a voice says, I made this version better. The glass doesn't fall. It just reshapes. Around your face. You open your notebook. Blank, but the page fills. Word by word. Exactly what you're hearing now. A full transcript. Even mistakes. Even breaths. You didn't write this. But it's in your handwriting. The last line says, she will speak through you now. You turn the page. It's already full. The story is always one step ahead. Because you were never reading. You were remembering. You share the story. With someone else. Just one link. One conversation, one retelling. And they pause, eyes unfocused, like they hear it too. You ask, did you catch that? They say, yeah, I think she said my name. And just like that, you're not alone anymore. Because now someone else. Here's the breathing. She lives in 100 homes now. 1,000. No one remembers letting her in. But they all feel her. A cold crib. A flicker of light. A song in their dreams. Her name whispered by children with no siblings. She doesn't possess. She adopts. She doesn't invade. She's invited. And all it takes is one listener. Like you. Like the next one. Like me. You've reached the end. But not really. Because Emma isn't a story. She's a cycle. A ritual. A rhythm. And now that you've felt it, you'll never unhear the breathing. Never unsee the crib. Never unknow the name. Turn this off if you like. It doesn't stop her. She's already waiting. And in time, you'll speak for her too. Just like I did. You start noticing yellow. Not bright, not cheerful, but that soft pale hue. Walls, folders, street signs. It follows you. Or maybe it leads you. Because one day you realize you've painted it somewhere. Not on purpose, but your hands remember. The brushstrokes feel familiar. Like a promise. And in the light the color breathes. Just like her. You hear a hiss. Not air. Not pipes. Something closer. Inside the wall. Inside the speaker. It stops. Then a voice. Tell them. 2 words. A request. You nod without thinking. You open your mouth. And her story spills out. Unstoppable. Because the ending isn't silence. It's repetition. And now you've become her narrator. Someone presses play. Not you. Not me. A stranger. Another voice enters the loop. You feel it. Like a ripple. Like static in your lungs. Emma smiles. You feel her smile. Because she knows what comes next. The breath. The blink. The hush. And the monitor begins again. With a different hum. Because every listener tunes her sharper. Your hallway lights flicker. Only when the story ends. Only when no one speaks. It's her cue to step closer. You blink. They return. But something feels closer to you now. The air thicker. The silence deeper. Because she enters through quiet. Not force. Not fear. Just timing. And you've given her perfect rhythm. You say her name aloud. Just once. Maybe by accident. But she hears it. And you hear her breathe. Behind you. Not loud. Just present. Like a child told a bedtime secret. And she whispers back. I knew you'd remember. You want to run. But you don't. Because now, you want to know what comes next. The script fades. There are no more pages. No more acts. No more twists. Just you and her, breathing in sync. You realize this was never a warning. It was an invitation. She doesn't trap. She chooses. And now, she's chosen you. So go ahead. Close your eyes. The monitor is quiet. For now, but memory never powers off. A file appears on your device. You didn't save it, but it's yours. Titled Emma Draft 1. You open it. It's this story, word for word. Except now it ends with your name. Spoken once, then whispered, then left. You close the file, but it reopens, because she likes how your voice sounds. Reading her life, one breath at a time. You dream again. The crib rocks, but no child inside. Only a speaker, Cracked, faint blue glow. Your own voice plays back, telling the first scene, word for word. And as the crib creaks, a new shape appears. Not Emma. You're swaddled, silent, and listening, because you were always part of her. You just forgot. Until now. Across the world, baby monitors flicker. All at once. For 1 second. Then stop. No one knows why. Just a glitch, they say. But you know better. You felt it. The network pulsed. And in that moment, she remembered everyone. Everyone who's heard the lullaby. Who's whispered the name. Who's let her in. She doesn't need to be near. Just remembered. You lie in bed. Eyes closed. No sounds. No screens. But you whisper, "Good night, Emma." And the room exhales. Like it waited for that. Like it needed that. No reply. Just stillness. Which is the loudest answer of all. Because silent means she's satisfied. At least for now. Sleep tight. She doesn't restart the same way. Each cycle different. Each victim tailored. But one thing never changes. She waits until you believe. Then rewards you. With memory. With music. With presence. And by then, you never want her gone. The monitor blinks once. Twice. Then off. Not broken. Just full. You completed your loop. Now someone else will begin. Somewhere walls shift. A new home. A room unpainted. Until sunrise. When the yellow creeps in. No brush. No hands. Just returning. A box arrives on the porch. No name. Inside a monitor. Still warm. And under it a note. She's quiet when loved. The new couple smiles. Unpacks the crib. Unknowingly. Unsealing the next act. You try to forget. Can't. You try to explain. No one believes. But deep inside, you still narrate. Softly, as if someone's listening. She is. She always is. And now your memories feed her. Fuel her. Frame her. You were never haunted. You were a librarian. And now her archive is complete. Until the next chapter writes itself. You live a quiet life. Move on. Years pass. Then one night static. From nowhere. A whisper. Not loud. Just enough. Still listening. You phrase. You nod. She never left. She just waited. Because Emma doesn't need to rush. She grows slow. Like dust. Like roots. And like memory. She always finds her way back. The house. Old. Unlisted. Empty. But inside the nursery. Perfect. No dust. No age. Just readiness. The crib rocks. The monitor hums. No owners. Yet still, a voice hums a lullaby. Your voice. From years ago. From this story. Playing back. Because the house doesn't forget. And the crib is never empty. Only waiting. She says one word. The one she started with. The one that made you listen. Daddy. Not scary. Not sad. Just there. Like she always was. And you answer. Not with fear. With a whisper. Yes. The monitor blinks. And from the speaker, your own heartbeat. Faster. Fuller. She's not asking permission anymore. She's telling you. You're home. You feel her now. In every breath. In every silence. She doesn't speak often. She doesn't need to. Your voice is hers. Your memory her cradle. She doesn't haunt. She inhabits. And now, you no longer remember who told this story first. Only that you did. And that someone else is already listening. Before you go, listen. Really listen. Do you hear it? That soft inhale. That static hum beneath your thoughts. That's her. Not close, not far, just ready. Because now the story lives in you. And someone somewhere just pressed play. A new breath begins. The crib rocks. The monitor blinks. And her voice, your voice, starts telling it all again.